All right, so you're ready to really get into the weeds on something big.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe you're thinking about fixing up that old deck of yours, but you don't want to spend hours reading articles and trying to decode all that technical jargon, right?
Yeah, I get it. It can be a lot.
Well, that's where we come in today. We're diving deep into Duradek. You know, it seems like every time deck renovation comes up, Duradek is part of the conversation.
For sure.
And for this deep dive, we're mainly using this awesome guide put together by RainCity Decks.
Oh, yeah. They know their stuff.
So consider this your express lane to Duradek, what it is, why it might be the perfect fit for your deck, and maybe why it's a job you shouldn't try to tackle yourself.
Definitely some food for thought there.
Yeah.
So we've both gone through that RainCity Decks guide pretty thoroughly, and one thing that jumps out right away is that they don't just talk about Duradek as like a surface you walk on.
Right.
It's presented as like a complete waterproofing system.
Interesting.
They really hammer home the performance angle, this tough vinyl that's built to not only look good, but to really last and keep everything dry.
Gotcha. Well, let's start with the most basic question. What's the big deal with Duradek? Why even consider it when there are those classic options like good old wood?
Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it?
And the guide does bring up some key advantages.
Oh, for sure.
First off, the durability factor.
Of course.
Wood, well, yeah, the drill. Constant fight against rot, those pesky splinters, sanding and staining forever.
It never ends.
Duradek, because it's vinyl, seems to sidestep a lot of those classic wood headaches.
Right.
And RainCity Decks being an authorized installer, they're big on the whole professional installation thing, you know, really making sure you get that long-lasting performance they're talking about.
Absolutely. That's key. And, you know, taking a step back, the guide also brings up this interesting point about the environmental side of things.
Oh, okay.
Think about all the chemicals, all the stains and sealants you typically need to keep a wood deck in good shape.
Yeah, that's true.
Duradek really cuts down on that, if not gets rid of it completely. So if you're thinking about, you know, maybe wanting a deck that's a bit easier on the planet in terms of upkeep, that's something to consider.
Yeah, definitely makes you think. Okay, so beyond those initial thoughts, let's get into the real nitty-gritty. What are the core benefits, the real advantages that Duradek brings to the table? What really stood out to you from how RainCity Decks breaks it all down?
Well, the biggest one has to be the waterproofing.
Okay.
They keep talking about this seamless vinyl membrane.
Seamless.
Yeah, and what's so important about that is that it eliminates those weak spots where water can sneak in.
Right.
Which is, you know, the root of so many deck problems, rot, mold, even damage to the structure underneath.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like a solid, unbroken barrier.
Huh. Interesting.
And then there's the low maintenance aspect, which is a huge plus.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The guide is very clear on this: no more sanding, sealing, staining every year.
That's a lot of time saved right there.
Exactly. A huge chunk of time and effort that you can use for other things.
Yeah. I can think of a few things I'd rather be doing on a beautiful weekend.
Me too.
And the durability factor really seems solid.
Oh, yeah.
They mentioned resistance to UV rays. You know, those can really do a number on materials over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus protection against mold and rot, the arch enemies of any outdoor structure.
Right.
Sounds like they built Duradek to last.
They did. And let's not forget about the aesthetics. You know, it's not all just practicality.
Sure.
The guide emphasizes the variety of colors and textures available.
Oh, nice.
So you're not stuck with just one look.
Yeah.
You can actually pick something that really matches the style of your house. You know, it's a functional upgrade that can also make your outdoor space look fantastic.
Yeah, that's a win-win. Now, this brings us to something RainCity Decks seems pretty adamant about.
Oh, what's that?
Professional installation.
Right?
They're pretty clear that this isn't your average DIY weekend project.
Definitely not.
So according to the guide, what's the main reason why you need a pro to install Duradek?
It all boils down to precision.
Yeah.
Installing Duradek isn't just about laying down some vinyl.
Right.
It requires specific techniques, especially around the seams and flashing.
Flashing.
Yeah, you know, where the decking meets the walls or railings.
Right.
You have to make sure it's completely waterproof, and that takes skill.
Yeah.
RainCity Decks, as an authorized contractor, you know, they stress that their expertise is what guarantees the product will actually do what it's supposed to do. And really importantly, that your warranty stays valid.
Oh, it's a big one.
It is. Think of it like a high-tech raincoat. If the seams aren't sealed properly, you're going to get wet.
That's a great analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are some of the specific steps or advantages that a professional installation brings to the table, things that a DIR might really struggle with?
Well, the guide really focuses on a few key things. First off, proper surface preparation.
Okay.
And that's not just about sweeping off the deck. It can involve making sure the structure underneath is sound checking, that there's a good slope for drainage, and fixing any existing problems that could mess up the Duradek installation later on.
So it's more involved than you might think.
It is. Then there's the whole seamless waterproofing thing that takes special tools and techniques, often heat welding or specific adhesives that most homeowners don't have lying around.
Makes sense.
And last but definitely not least, professional installation ensures you're meeting the manufacturer's warranty requirements.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Yeah, if you mess something up during a DIY install, you could actually void the warranty, which could cost you a lot more in the long run if you have problems later.
That's a good point. So let's say you're thinking about Duradek. What's the next step?
Well, the RainCity Decks guide talks a lot about the importance of a deck inspection.
A deck inspection.
Yeah, it's all about making sure you're not building on a shaky foundation, both literally and figuratively.
Okay, I like that.
A good, thorough deck inspection is all about checking the overall health of your deck's structure. Are there any signs of rot in the joists or support beams? Is there evidence of past water damage that hasn't been fixed?
So looking for those hidden problems.
Exactly. The guide makes it clear that you need to find and fix these problems before you even think about putting down Duradek.
So it's like you're setting yourself up for success.
Right, because if you put a fancy waterproof surface on a damaged foundation, you're not really solving the real issues.
Yeah, that's like putting a brand new roof on a house with a cracked foundation. It just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Okay, so once the inspection is done and any structural repairs are taken care of, how does Duradek actually transform your outdoor space during a renovation?
Well, the most obvious change is swapping out that old, worn-out decking with the sleek, modern look of Duradek's waterproof vinyl.
Right.
But they also talk about the chance to upgrade other things, like installing custom railings, which can make your deck safer and look a lot nicer. And they also mention adding built-in drainage systems, which is a smart move because it takes care of water runoff.
Yeah, that's important.
It protects the deck structure and even the parts of your house around the deck from water damage. So it's not just about replacing the surface, it's a complete upgrade to your outdoor living space.
I like it. Now, something that's always on homeowners' minds when they're thinking about renovations is the impact on their property value.
Of course.
So how does a professional Duradek installation factor into a home's resale value based on what we've learned?
Well, according to the guide, it's a definite plus. A well-installed Duradek deck not only makes the deck itself more appealing and usable, but it also adds to the long-term value of the house.
Okay, why is that?
The reasoning is pretty simple. Buyers like things that are low maintenance and built to last.
That makes sense.
A deck that looks great and doesn't scream future repair bills is a big selling point.
Definitely no argument there. A hassle-free outdoor space is something any buyer would appreciate. And it's not just about avoiding those future headaches, is it?
Nope. The guide also talks about the immediate visual improvement.
Okay.
They emphasize that sleek, well-maintained vinyl deck really boosts curb appeal.
Ah, that makes sense.
It gives the house a more modern and polished look from the outside. So whether you're thinking about selling soon or you just want to enjoy a beautiful and worry-free outdoor space for years to come, investing in Duradek is presented as a smart move for your property.
Interesting. Okay, so we've talked about the initial investment, the durability, the looks, the potential for increasing your home value.
Right.
But what about the ongoing costs? How does Duradek stack up against traditional wood when it comes to those long-term expenses?
Well, this is where the guide really positions Duradek as a good financial decision.
Okay.
Because it's so durable and because you don't have to do all that regular maintenance like staining and sealing, the long-term cost can be a lot lower than with wood deck.
Oh, I see.
Think about all the money you'll save over the years by not having to buy stains, sealants, and potentially pay for repairs because of rot and water damage.
Yeah, those costs can really add up over time.
They do.
So let's break down those cost savings. No more yearly spending on stains and sealers.
Right.
Fewer chances of expensive repairs down the line because it's waterproof and rot resistant.
Yep.
And then potentially a higher property value because it's low maintenance and long lasting.
Exactly.
So it seems like even though there's that initial investment, the long-term financial picture could definitely favor Duradek.
It could. And just to underline something, the guide really emphasizes they strongly advise against trying to install it yourself.
Yeah, they were pretty clear about that.
It's not just about making sure the waterproofing is done right, but it's also about protecting your warranty.
Right.
Going with experienced Duradek contractors like RainCity Decks, that's presented as the best way to make sure your investment is protected and that you actually get all the benefits.
That makes sense. So to sum it all up for everyone listening, based on this deep dive into the RainCity Decks guide, Duradek looks like a really strong option for deck renovation.
I'd agree.
It offers that great combination of durability, minimal upkeep, solid waterproof protection, and a variety of style choices.
Right.
And while the initial cost is something to think about, the potential for long-term savings, the possibility of a higher home value, and the convenience of a low-maintenance outdoor space make it a serious contender.
Definitely something to consider.
And that emphasis on professional installation, it highlights that doing it right from the beginning is crucial to getting those long-term benefits and protecting your investment.
Couldn't agree more.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. How might investing in the longevity and the core strength of your outdoor living spaces not just make your home more enjoyable right now, but also have a lasting impact on its overall value and appeal in the future?
That's a great question.
Maybe it's time to really look at your own deck situation, whether it's a current problem or a future project, and explore options like Duradek a little more deeply.
Yeah, it's definitely worth thinking about.